Hi, I'm Nancy Chanteau, and I'm here today to talk with you about my class, the Wise Adult Consciousness class. This is a 5-week online and phone-based course, and I've designed this course to do a couple of things. One is to really highlight what it is that we are paying attention to and how, and to use our bodies, our sense of embodiment, our sense of a felt sense, to help us start to add space into our experience. So when we're in our experience, it's kind of like being inside of like in the water, in a wave, where we're, floating with the wave, on the wave. The wave is the totality of our experience. Level 1 consciousness would kind of like being in a boat or on a surfboard, getting up on top of the wave, being able to see the wave and see ourselves in the wave, see ourselves experiencing the experience while also being in the experience. And then level 2 consciousness would be kind of like being in a helicopter, where we would be observing ourselves on the wave or on the surfboard, in the boat, and then being in the wave as well. That these levels of consciousness can actually help us experience the wave differently. The wave shifts as we change where we're watching ourselves from. So as we start to develop our ability to observe our consciousness, we develop our ability to design our consciousness. And so that means we pay attention to what we're paying attention to and make wise and conscious choices about what we're including in our awareness, and that those choices will shift our experience. And I've been looking for a word to try and describe it. I didn't feel like geometric was sufficiently powerful to explain how potent it is for us to design our consciousness. And so the word I've been using is fractal, that this is like a fractal leverage point on our experience, that no longer, when we're even just observing our experience, that's a really powerful shift, just to be able to have an experience and observe an experience. It puts immense space into the experience. And if we can just do that, that's very powerful. As we get into observing ourselves, observing our experience, observing the consciousness, then we start to have immense choice over what's happening and how we respond to it. This ends up producing a couple of different very important changes. One is that we can get out of a dualistic interpretation of the world, where we see things as right or wrong, good or bad, and move ourselves into seeing rights and wrongs in terms of, what do I want right now? Maybe what I want right now is different from what I want in 2 weeks or last Tuesday. And we can see that time and space difference and include all of the parts of ourselves. This is right for me right now, but it might be also wrong for me in particular ways. And taking in that contradictory, the complexity, taking that into account in our decision making, our planning, and our responding to our experience as well. So once we move out of duality into non-duality, there's also this shift in consciousness that we can make, where we figure out what it is that we want to pay attention to. And as we do that, including things in our attention that shape our experience in positive ways, we also can start to see the stories that we're telling ourselves. I talk about stories, I talk about beliefs, and stories and beliefs as aspects of our worldview, our cosmology. And so that we can, and I say cosmology and beliefs and stories from this perspective of understanding that fundamentally what's really going on is that we don't know. We don't know the meaning of life. We don't know why we exist. We don't know who we are. That is what's really true. And then we make up these beliefs and stories about the world in order to be able to function. And if that's true, if what's really true is that we don't know, and then there's this layer of truth that we can put in place in order to function, why not put in place a layer that gets us more of what we want? So we start shifting our beliefs from this duality-based system where we're seeing something as right or wrong, and inside of that then seeing there's something wrong with us that somehow might give us some power over our powerlessness. We're shifting that to be able to see how what's true is that there's a swath of powerlessness. I might not even have power over what I'm feeling right now, but I do have influence, and the influence gets increasingly more potent as we do what I call our human homework. Our human homework is anything that we need to do in order to take care of ourselves, in order to be functional. That is coming from a place of the human homework is something that we have to do in order to be healthy and whole. And then from there, from doing our human homework, then we can figure out what we want. What's 100% of what we want? And putting our human homework plus our 100% together starts to let us have a life design that then has the maximum influence on what's happening. So we start to increase our influence over our experience. And as we increase our influence over our consciousness and our experience, we start to really see our experience shifting more into a direction that we would like to go. We have the maximum leverage on our experience, and we also accept the unacceptable. We accept our powerlessness over the things that are happening to us that we might not want. So there might be something in our life circumstances that's painful or difficult. And as we accept that, as we learn to really work with what is, we stop adding the additional suffering of blaming ourselves or shaming ourselves that comes from this duality worldview. And we start to see how our response, if we don't have all of that extra suffering, what we have the maximum energy available to us to be able to design our response. And as we do that, it starts to look like we have a level of calm and peace and control that people aspire to. Most people would like to have. And the irony is that a lot of that comes from our ability to accept our powerlessness, to accept what is. And accepting what is we talk about that a lot in all kinds of spiritual and philosophical traditions. Most people don't really know how to do that. Most people bounce away from what is in some sort of dissociation or trigger or safety strategy. So we'll be talking about all of these things in this course. It's a really valuable course. I built this course because most people don't come asking me for this kind of help, but I think it's the help that they need, even though it's not what they know how to ask for. So I'd love for you to join us. It's going to be really powerful in the courses. It's online and by phone. I'll do everything I can to respond to whatever's going on for you in the moment and give you all the resources and tools I have available. And that's just how I am as a teacher. So I would love it if you joined us, and if you share this with your friends. Please feel free to pass this information around. It's changed my life and changed a lot of the people I've worked with, made their lives so much better, and I hope it will make yours better. Thanks.